Welcome back to BetterAvecBourbon. Spooky season is upon us, and what better way to celebrate than me unveiling 3 new cocktail elixirs. Astral Projection, which packs a black jujube-like taste, powered by absinthe. Let There Be Blood, a spicy riff on the boulevardier that exchanges vermouth for Ancho Reyes. And lastly, Whispered Words, a riff on the last word. For ingredients, starting with the Astral Projection, we have gin. I use Plymouth gin, but you can easily use London Dry here instead. Chambord to provide some fruitiness, sweetness, and coloring. St-Germain elderflower liqueur to further strengthen the sweeter elements of the drink in order to balance the final ingredient, absinthe, which packs a punch at 124 proof and provides the black licorice notes that lend to the jujube-like finish. Next, the Let There Be Blood ingredients. First, you'll need a good rye, something not too spicy like Sazerac. You could even use a sweeter bourbon to further tame the potency of the other ingredients. Campari, which provides the bright red color, and the grapefruit peel bite. And lastly, the Ancho Reyes, which is a chili liqueur, adding a spicy taste and thicker texture to the drink. Gather those up and prepare for the final round of ingredients for the Whispered Words cocktail, a riff on the last word. You'll need a good gin, Plymouth, London Dry, or something more traditional like Old Tom gin, Licor 43 in place of the maraschino liqueur for added citrus sweetness and brightness, Green Chartreuse, which brings the green grass look and the potent herbal quality the last word is known for. And lastly, lime juice for some bright citrus flavor. Gather all of your ingredients and let's make some deliciously haunting cocktails. Starting off, grab your bar mat, mixing glass, and jigger, and let's start making the Astral Projection. Grab your gin and measure out an ounce. Add it to your glass. Next, measure out a ½ ounce of Lucid Absinthe. Add it in. A ½ ounce of St-Germain. Add it in. And lastly, a ½ ounce of Chambord to add some sweet red fruit flavor. Add it in. Get a big scoop of ice and begin stirring your cocktail well. You want to make sure everything is well incorporated, and the added dilution will help balance out the strong candy flavors from both the absinthe and the Chambord in particular. Once the mixing glass is well frosted and your cocktail is properly diluted, fetch a chilled coupe glass and gently strain your elixir into it. Serve ungarnished or feel free to have a red or black jujube on a cocktail pick. I love the color on this one, very peachy and looks delicate. For flavors, it's a blend between red and black jujubes, so this cocktail will likely be hit or miss, depending on your feelings towards black licorice. If you want it to be more purple, feel free to use Empress gin instead. Moving that to the side, let's start building Let There Be Blood. Another stirred cocktail, you'll need to first rinse your instruments and start by measuring 1½ ounces of rye. Add it in. Next, 3/4 ounce of Ancho Reyes, or chili liqueur more generally. Add it in. And lastly, 3/4 ounce of Campari. Add it in. Get a big scoop of ice and begin stirring your cocktail well. You'll want a good amount of dilution, given that with the ingredients of chili liqueur and Campari, it's going to have a potent finish. Once thoroughly mixed, grab your chilled coupe and carefully strain your elixir. Presenting, there will be blood. I love the color on this one, and I actually had originally made it as a House of the Dragon inspired cocktail with the name riffing on the Fire and Blood book title. It has a cherry red color to it, tricking you into thinking that it might be sweet, but once you've had a sip, you'll see it's spicier, it's bitter, and there's pepperiness to it. It really packs a punch and is a highly interesting cocktail. If you want to dial down the heat, consider swapping rye for bourbon or garnishing with an orange peel. Setting that to the side, let's build the final cocktail in the likely crowd pleaser, Whispered Words. This will be a shaken cocktail, so grab your shaker tin, rinse your jigger, and start by measuring out 3/4 of an ounce of gin. Add it to your tin. 3/4 of an ounce of lime juice into the tin. Three-quarters of an ounce of Green Chartreuse. Green Chartreuse has gotten scarce, but I'll link some potential substitutes below. Once measured, add it to the tin. And lastly, subbing in for the maraschino liqueur, Licor 43. 3/4 of an ounce measured and added to the tin. A scoopful of ice to the tin. Grab your chilled coupe and shake for a good 15 to 20 seconds. Then carefully strain your elixir into your coupe. I love the color on this one as well. The chartreuse alongside the lime juice creates this slime or swamp green look to it. An optional step, the garnish. Similar to the last word cocktail, I'll be garnishing with the maraschino cherry. Stabbing the cherry with the pick. And then submerging it at the bottom of the cocktail. It's delicious, and I think it manages to be even better than the original. Now let's bring back the other two cocktails and assess the lineup. 3 very different cocktails with vibrant colors, and upon tasting, you'll see that things are not always as they seem, and that spirits can be both friendly, haunting, and even a little spicy. Thanks everyone for watching. Let me know down below if you get a chance to try any of these cocktails, or if there's one you find interesting. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Your feedback is very helpful. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next week. Cheers.